If you're earning 6 or 7 figures, you've got nothing to worry about in retirement, right? Well, that's what a lot of people assume, but after over 20 years of helping high-earning professionals prepare for and transition into retirement, the same questions keep on coming up. Will I have enough? Can I retire now? What should I be doing to prepare properly? That's exactly what I'm going to tell you today in this video. You're going to learn how to calculate exactly how much you need to retire, how to accurately take stock of your current net worth, and a proven strategy that we use to ensure our clients get there much quicker. First of all, what does enough actually mean? Whether you're early on in your career or you're already retired, basic financial planning comes down to income and outgoings, saving more than you spend. And it's as simple as that. In retirement, most of us just have less coming in than we're used to having. We're no longer earning a salary or running a business. So what income could be coming instead? Most of us will get a state pension if you've kept up with your contributions. If you're lucky, you might also have a final salary or defined benefit pension from your workplace, especially if you worked in the public sector or for a large, long-standing company. You might also have rental income from a property or two, and maybe you're going to keep on doing a little bit of paid work. These are all typical income sources, but maybe they won't be enough to cover the lifestyle that you'd like in your retirement. If your outgoings exceed your income, you're going to need to make up the shortfall or the difference from somewhere. And that's exactly why we all need to save and invest throughout life, building up assets to make up that shortfall or that difference. These are things like cash accounts, savings accounts, personal pensions, general investment accounts from which we can withdraw money when we need it. When the value of these assets is sufficient to sustain your planned rate of withdrawal for the rest of your lives, no matter what, then that is when you truly have enough. However, obviously there are a million variables here. Everyone's definition of a comfortable standard of living is completely different. We've got no idea how long each of us are going to live. We don't know how much inflation is going to erode the future value of our money. We don't know what our investment returns are likely to be, and we don't know what future tax rates will be. Although I think we can probably all agree that we're not going to be paying any less tax than we are now, particularly those of us based in the Middle East like me. And the further we are away from retirement, the further into the future it all is, the less clear things are going to be. So we can probably agree that this is all educated guesswork. However, this kind of educated guesswork needs to be grounded upon statistical evidence and experience. So, if you want to work out the expected returns for your income, make sure to download our free guide, which includes the capital market assumptions of a prudent fiduciary. You can use it as a benchmark and guide for your own spreadsheets and forecasts, and be sure that you're getting the data based upon thousands and thousands of models we run here at AES. You'll find the link in the description below. And now that you know how to be working out what you might be earning, how do you know if it's actually going to be enough? Because we're trying to arrive at a number which is in the future, and the future is unknown, we're going to need to resort to a rule of thumb like the 4% rule. This rule, which isn't really a rule at all, says that you should be able to draw 4% of the value of your savings, investments and pension funds adjusted for inflation each year, and it will last the rest of your life. Or another way to achieve it is to work out what you're going to actually need in any single year and multiply it by 25. If you want to spend $100,000 a year, you're going to need 25 times that, or $2.5 million in your portfolio. All of this might sound a little abstract, so let me introduce you to John. John is a partner at a global law firm, and he's just turned 52. He wants to retire when he's 55, and then just do the work he wants to do. We call this independent continued earning, or ICE. He's got a small pension from when he previously worked in the UK and will also receive an end-of-service benefit payment. He's also got a rental property in the UK and owns his house outright here in Dubai. He's unsure of exactly where he's going to retire and the future tax regime, but he would like a $20,000 a month income, or $240,000 per year in retirement. As a partner at a global law firm, John gets a large annual profit distribution, and unlike most people, he doesn't actually have a shortfall between his future desired income and his expenses at all, given his income-generating assets are already over $6 million, or 25 times his desired annual income of $240,000. In this example, as long as it's invested wisely, a pot of money the size that John already has in today's terms should be able to supplement other income indefinitely and provide for his desired lifestyle if the 4% rule is borne out. If you're finding this helpful so far, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel to be notified when new videos are released each week. 2 things to mention. I use the phrase in today's terms because we can only think of today's money. It's difficult, if not impossible, for us to think about the future value of money. But inflation is obviously going to increase our costs by the time we get to retirement. We can allow for that by assuming our wisely selected investments grow in excess of inflation. This is exactly why these capital market assumptions of prudent fiduciary are also critical in planning effectively. The other big thing to mention is tax. Ensuring you structure your investments so that you can draw an income from them in the most tax-efficient way is important. In the example I used earlier, John didn't know where he may retire. So those assumptions are particularly pessimistic to reflect such unknown unknowns. So the interesting thing, when I ran the numbers for John and his family, was that based upon their future chosen lifestyle, they were already there. Instead of working another 3 years in the grind, John had actually already reached financial independence a couple of years back. Often we'd be running different scenarios, working out how much to save and creating a clear pathway towards a future financial independence number. But in John's case, we could actually move straight onto something quite fascinating, and it's a very simple strategy that I'm always surprised that more people aren't talking about. It's called guardrails, and it's because that common rule of thumb, the one I previously mentioned, the 4% rule, is simple, sure, but we all know that life isn't simple. Markets go up and down, inflation happens, pandemics, wars, recessions, to give but a few examples. And this generalized rule makes absolutely no room for that. Whether your portfolio is 20% up or down, John would still be pulling the same inflation-adjusted income. Now, I get it. Being able to take a predictable paycheck equivalent stream of income from a portfolio seems appealing. But it turns out there might be a much better calculation that will make a profound difference to John and Judy's future. The research actually shows that people who are willing to be even a little bit flexible on their withdrawals, taking more when markets are strong, and taking a little bit less when they're weak, can usually draw more overall than those who stick rigidly to the 4% rule. And that's exactly what guardrails are built to do. Rather than sticking your income on autopilot and hoping for the best, you just stay within smart, adjustable limits. You protect your downside and you give yourself more room to enjoy life when things go well. It makes taking income in retirement not just much safer, but much more certain and smarter. Let's look at some of the hard numbers. Looking back at 90 years of market history, the success rate for guardrail strategies absolutely blows the 4% rule withdrawal plans out of the water. For example, with a 60% equity portfolio, a fixed withdrawal might safely give you 3.8% per year to start with. But using guardrails, you can safely withdraw 5.4%. That's a massive difference, and it's backed up by data from Morningstar's State of the Retirement Income Report. The moral of the story is that by planning really well, both in the years up to retirement and once you reach your magic number or enough, you can really optimize your finances and improve your future purchasing power and therefore your lifestyle choices. Now, if you've done your numbers and you realize actually you can't afford to save what you need each year or each month, then that's okay. Some people are still paying for their kids' education or looking after their parents. You also still need to live for today, but we also all need to have a mind towards tomorrow as well. And at some point, you've got to start with a really good plan or life strategy. Work out what you can afford and work up from there. That means you have to find a figure that's manageable but slightly uncomfortable to save and invest on a regular basis. Then there are plenty of tips and tricks to do this well and to avoid common mistakes. You then need to invest the financial capital wisely and let time and discipline work their magic. Once a year at least, recalculate and review things. Do the sums to work out your numbers again. Maybe it's gone up because you realize you want to spend more when you get to retirement, and maybe you realize you can get by on less. Maybe even your retirement age can come down for the same reason as John. I appreciate that when we're talking about long timescales, the numbers can always be scary because we can only think in today's terms. But this exercise is really worth doing because then at least you have a target to aim for. You're not just saving as much as you can and hoping it will be enough, because hope isn't a good strategy. Also, by setting yourself up on a definite course towards retirement and putting in place the savings and the investment regime to get you there, you can then start to think about exactly how and when you retire and what you're going to be doing when you get there. And the best time to start making good investments that'll pay off in your later years is now. But how do you know which investments will pay off and which ones might lose you money? Watch this video next to learn the 10 rules of investing that we always tell our clients to follow.